It's Levack and Goss on 104.5 The Team.
The divisional round of the playoffs is upon us. And probably the best game of the weekend is going to be the Steelers versus the Chiefs, and help us make sense of the entire situation. Andrew Filipponi, host on 93.7 The Fan, who has probably the strongest Twitter game I've seen in a long time. Pony,
ooh, that's a big compliment.
I love the title, the Pony Express, and I love the picture of Tomlin's William and Mary ID.
My boss a few weeks ago called me into his office and said, I got an angry email from a listener who wants to know why Mike Tomlin and his William and Mary ID is your avatar on Twitter. And I said back to him that this woman was like 6 years slow on this, because I think since Twitter's inception I've had that picture, and I have no reason to change it. I mean, my boss might threaten me with suspension or termination, and I think I would just keep the Twitter account and try to find a job somewhere else. That's how fond I am of that, picture.
It's kind of hard to top. It definitely is. With Andrew Filipponi with us right now, 104.5 The Team. Hey, what's going on with Big Ben? How's he feeling? How's that ankle?
I think he's all systems go, full participant in practice the last 2 days. I wouldn't expect the ankle to be, or foot, depending on who you talk to. Some say it's an mild ankle sprain. Some say it's more like a foot bruise. But I don't think that he's going to be hindered whatsoever by it this weekend. Like, we're going to see a guy limping out there or playing on one leg. I haven't been given any reason to think from talking to Ben this week that he's going to be compromised. If he has a bad game, he's not going to be able to hide behind an injury.
We were just talking about the Joey Porter situation going down there, the incident at the bar. What do you make of this? Are you surprised he kept his job? Was there ever talk of Tomlin maybe leaving?
It's a total joke. It's an absolute embarrassment that he is going with the team to Kansas City this weekend. They placed him on leave earlier in the week, which I thought was just, a euphemism for a suspension, which was just a nice way of saying that, we're going to hold you back for punitive reasons. And the police here in Pittsburgh have stood by their account of what happened, that Porter picked up and threw a bouncer and then put his hands on a police officer and was drunk the entire time. And the district attorney here in Pittsburgh dropped a lot of those more heinous charges yesterday, and just kept the disorderly conduct and the public drunkenness. Porter, in a statement released this morning, said that he did touch the police officer, apologize for getting physical with a police officer, and that's all I need.
Right.
If he's admitting to taking some kind of physical force against a cop, not to say that he socked him in the face or knocked the guy out or body slammed him or anything, but he was so hammered after a playoff game that he got mouthy, created a scene, and then laid hands on a cop. And that's enough for me to at least question his future with the organization. And in the short term, there's absolutely no way I take him to Kansas City. He's not so important. He's not such a key part of this, winning formula for Sunday that you feel, if we don't have Joey Porter, we really don't like our chances. He's a flunky. He is an outside linebackers coach, and I think it's a real mistake by the Steelers. Shame on them for taking him to Kansas City this weekend.
Andrew Filipponi with us right now. He's the host at 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh. Do you think that this is Tomlin and the crew just trying to keep everything status quo until the season's over? Will he be gone next year?
I have no reason to think that if they're going to look the other way for this game, that they're going to come to their senses in the offseason, unless something else happens with Porter, unless there's something behind the scenes that I'm just not aware of, or, between now and when they really make a determination on who they want to keep around in their coaching staff, he acts up again. I'm looking at this as a sign that the Steelers are at least accepting what Porter did and do not believe it rises to a case where you want to terminate or get rid of a guy. I think their actions today tell you that they're looking at this as almost a mulligan or using up a strike, that he had one mistake, but it's not enough to cost him his job.
On your Twitter account at @ThePonyExpress, you said today it's not a good season for the Steelers unless they beat Kansas City. Why do you believe that?
Because this team was picked to go to the AFC Championship game. In Vegas, they were the second choice behind New England to come out of the AFC. They're healthy. The last 2 years, they've had injuries going into the playoffs. Ben Roethlisberger had a bad shoulder in Denver last year. Le'Veon Bell was out. Antonio Brown got knocked out by Vontaze Burfict. So when they went to Denver, they had Fitzgerald Toussaint as their running back. And that to me, and their top receiver was Martavis Bryant. A lot changed. This team is one of the hotter teams in the NFL. I don't look at Kansas City as this immovable object or irresistible force. It's a solid team. It's a good team. Not a great team. They're not running into, they're not running the Hank Stram's Chiefs on the road this weekend. So if they lose this game, as far as I'm concerned, they will not have met expectations this year. Not to say they had a terrible season or that anybody deserves to get fired or reprimanded for it. But, you only get so many cracks at it, guys. Ben Roethlisberger is 34 years old. Antonio Brown has 1 year left on his contract beyond this one. Le'Veon Bell is a free agent after this year. And if this nucleus fails to at least get to a Super Bowl, I'm going to look at it as a disappointment.
Andrew Filipponi with us, and I'm almost afraid to ask you this one. Are you at all concerned with the weather conditions in Kansas City?
Careful.
For me, yes. For them, I've seen the Steelers win snow games in Buffalo this year. I've seen them win a rainstorm game against Kansas City where they scored 43 points and won by 29 against this Kansas City team. A lot has changed, but what didn't was, the weather that day. And the weather, you would think, not conducive to throwing the ball. And then on the first play of the game, Ben Roethlisberger threw a 47-yard bomb to Sammy Coates, and he finished up that game with 5 touchdowns. So I've heard, contradictory points made on the game. Tony Dungy was on with us yesterday and said it favors Kansas City. I heard Ron Jaworski say today that he doesn't think it makes a difference, and that's really where I come down on things. I don't think any team really gets a big edge from the snow.
Well, now
or the ice or the rain or whatever the hell it is.
Well, now we're concerned about you. We know you got some upstate New York ties here. What is your plane situation? When are you going to get there? What's going on right now?
My plane situation is screwed. I mean, it's terrible. I'm flying to Chicago in 2.5 hours, and then I'm going to, basically sit there in the at O'Hare with my rosary beads, hoping that there's going to be some flight for me out of there tonight. If not, some flight for me out of there early tomorrow morning. So it's almost like, best case scenario is me getting out of Chicago into Kansas City around like midnight. But truthfully, if you offered me right now a deal where my flight that they want to get me out on tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m., if that flight is available to me, I'll take it right now. I'll spend the night at O'Hare if I have to get to Kansas City early Saturday morning.
We wish here in the Capital Region we could help you out more. Levack and I are we don't got anything in Chicago. Sorry, Pony. we wish we could help you any way we could, but we could.
I got you.
Maybe we can help our Capital Region listeners with this. Give us a prediction for the game. Give us a score. What happens, Pittsburgh, Kansas City?
I like the Chiefs. I'd lay the 1.5. There's a big difference between the Steelers at Heinz Field and on the road. It's been very well documented. It's been picked apart. No one really has a theory that seems to be the best of the bunch when it comes to why Ben struggles on the road. 9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. The only quarterback with a worse passer rating on the road in the playoffs is Brock Osweiler. So you get the picture. He's a different guy away from the friendly confines of Pittsburgh. And it's the worst team to have that lack of ball security against. Kansas City forced the most turnovers. They led the league in interceptions. They led the league in takeaways. And they're also a really good special teams club with Tyreek Hill and all the explosiveness we've seen out of him this year, 12 touchdowns. I mean, there are definitely reasons to like the Steelers in this game, but I think the bad outweighs the good, and I would pick Kansas City to win probably by a touchdown or less. I think the game's in the low 20s, and the Chiefs are perfectly comfortable playing that kind of game, and I think that sets up a Kansas City-New England AFC championship.
Andrew Filipponi, 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh. You follow his journey at the Pony Express on Twitter. And hey, if
no, you're not going to follow my journey because if I tweet about it, it's going to be profane, and there might come to a point where I'm stuck in Chicago tonight and I'm not sober, so I'm probably not going to be tweeting the blow-by-blow account of what happens to me.
I swear.
But I appreciate you plugging my Twitter account anyways, guys.
But if you did right now, you just sold me. I would put you on notifications right now.
All right, man.
Pony, if they do make it to Houston, drinks on Gaz.
Hey, wait a second. Right. See you, man.
All right, man. We'll talk to you. Thanks for your time. Safe travels.
Yep, see ya.